Okay, so again, thank you to the forum. Thank you to the translator. We're enjoying Noumea. We've enjoyed the environment, the temperature from being away from New Zealand. If OPT could improve the Wi-Fi, it would be perfect. So, Idris spoke yesterday in a very elegant and learned presentation, and he discussed Mother Nature, biodiversity, and the value of ecosystems. And as a plant pathologist and mycologist myself, whose ikigai is to find biological pesticides and utilise the environment, I couldn't agree with him more. Yesterday there was also impassioned discussions on protection of New Caledonia's environment, the Indigenous peoples, and utilising that protection while trying to grow the economy through innovation. The only message I want to leave you today with is that I'm going to show you a very real, a very practical example of how to do this, and doing this while protecting and utilising New Caledonia's ecosystem and population. So, all of the technology and knowledge that I will discuss and that I'll try and get through in 15 minutes and do justice to it in 15 minutes will be available through our partner at Robin Exports. So I have to pay bills as well, and I'm also an entrepreneur and a capitalist, so I have to pay bills as well. So to give you some background and context, modern pesticides came from the misery of trench warfare and the genocide of World War II. So all of the pesticides, the synthetic pesticides that we're pouring into the food chain, Mother Nature has not developed any pathways to utilise them, to break them down, to make them disappear. So these synthetic pesticides are accumulating in the environment and doing damage to the environment. And in an ecosystem which is as precious and as small as New Caledonia's, utilising synthetic pesticides to spray food is no longer a trend which is being tolerated by any population around the world. In fact, Europe, France and Germany are leading the charge in Europe, and 80% of all of the toxic pesticides in Europe has been withdrawn for many, many reasons. So what I'm going to show you today is I'm going to show you how to utilise your environment, what's in the environment. And the picture that you can see behind me is a fungus. It is a fungus called Lecarnicillium muscarium. Oh, there'll be a test afterwards too. So this is a fungus which is common. We call it a ubiquitous species aggregate. It is common around the world. In actual fact, I found a population of aphids outside the Hilton Hotel, and this pathogen was present on those aphids. So these entomopathogens are also here in New Caledonia and could be captured and could be utilised rather than using toxic pesticides on the food, on your food. So the whitefly that you see there is the scourge of the modern growing industry. As I said, this fungus has co-evolved for billions of years. Idris talked about nature slaps us in the face, and she does that. He talks about nature being beautiful, and she is that. She's very, very elegant, and she's a very, very elegant killer, a serial killer. Idris talked about product and process, and he was also 100% correct. In our world, we talk about form and function, but I think they're one and the same. So to give you some context, I'm going to talk to you about sustainability and what sustainability is. And really I could go into this, but this is a presentation of the world's global leading synthetic pesticide company, Syngenta, and they've estimated that the global economic opportunity value for sustainable products, so natural products, is worth $900 billion US. So we talked about a knowledge economy yesterday. This is a knowledge economy. To work with these types of compounds, these types of fungi, natural products that can be dealt with nature that are not mammalian toxic, the opportunity is a global opportunity is worth $900 billion US. Given the isolation that New Caledonia has, and given its very, very closed ecosystem, it is very likely that there are things within the environment that are yet to be discovered and could be easily utilised on a global scale by startups here in New Caledonia. I've started 2 companies. The recent company is Equilibrium Biologicals. My previous company was Biotelliger. And the technology that we sold to the globe, we sold it for 9-figure sum in New Zealand dollars, and I will show you this technology shortly. So what are the global megatrends? We've all heard about 9 billion people by 2050. We've all heard about global warming and how that's impacting things. But 9 billion people, how are the growers around the world going to feed 9 billion people, but with less arable land to do it on? That's the question. That's the question that you have for yourselves in this country, being as isolated as you are. Looking at all of the imports ronding around the supermarkets, you can see that some of the practices that are going on around importations are not sustainable for New Caledonia. So what drives innovation in the agri-pesticide industry? So again, it's all about innovation. So less arable land, growing demand for food and sustainable agriculture are what drives innovation. It's what is going to drive innovation here. You have everything you need right here to control your pesticides, to control your pests from your ecosystem. Startups here in New Caledonia could go out, find these and adapt them for New Caledonia, but also on a global stage. As you can see, that is a $900 billion US dollar opportunity for indigenous entomopathogens or metabolites from those entomopathogens. So just again, more context. So the European Parliament recently sped up the registration process for biologicals. They've mooted 120 days. A normal process through EFSA in Europe can be up to 10 years for a synthetic pesticide. Almost at the same time, Human Rights Committee of the United Nations issued a statement that 9 billion people can be fed without the use of harmful chemical crop protection agents. The total value of agrochemicals today is $65.3 billion US dollars and is growing at a rate of 7.2%. But for biologicals, it's growing at a rate of 12%. So any investor should be interested in startups looking for these types of products here in New Caledonia. And I'm not interested in the $3.7 billion market. I'm interested in chasing the $65.3 billion market and protecting the population from all of this toxic material we're pouring into the food chain. We are poisoning ourselves. Forget about about global warming. We will die from modifying our genome through the stuff we're pouring into the food chain long before global warming begins to worry us. And it's a pretty powerful statement, but that is fact. So, if sustainability is innovation's new frontier, then why are biological pesticides not mainstream? Really, really easy. something called the chemical paradigm, and I won't go through everything, but effectively biological pesticides haven't really worked that well. But the technology is here today to actually find the right strains and make them work as well as synthetic pesticides. And I will show you a technology which we produced that actually will allow you to do that. So this is a product, it's called Lolene. It has no mammalian toxicity whatsoever, so it is not toxic to us, it is not toxic to the bees, and it is from the environment. It is from a fungus that lives inside grass. So we call it an endophyte. On this side here, you can see this is the same grass species, but this grass has no endophyte in it. This grass on this side has an endophyte in it, and the endophyte is producing the lolenes, and the lolenes are protecting the grass from drought and from insects that are chewing on the root system of this grass. We found this compound and we extracted the compound from the endophyte. To show you what the relationship is with the plant, this fungi, this is the mycelium here, growing between the cells, and there is so much fungi inside the cells of this plant. You can see all of the green dots here that are inside the cells are the fungal mass growing inside the plant. There will be grass species in New Caledonia that have endophytes present within them that will be producing unique compounds. Most successful grass species around the world, especially in New Zealand, have endophytes inside them to allow them to become successful in poor environments. So I won't go into the life cycle. So these are all of the endophyte compounds that we've found in New Zealand so far and around the world. The one which actually is, all of these are toxic to insects, so they kill insects. But the only one that we've found so far that is not toxic to bees and not toxic to us are these lolenes. It is quite likely, given the relationship of New Caledonia, the ancient Gondwanan relationship with New Caledonia, that there will be grass species that are producing similar compounds, and that should be looked for and should be researched. So, in a very simple, what we call Kiwi number 8 wire, we used to mow the grass and we used to extract the compound. And in a very simple process, we purified the compound and then began applying the compound to the outside of the plants, and we got very, very good control. So we've now tested this in 9 continents or 9 countries around the world, and just so you can see how well we can get this biological working in comparison to the standard synthetic chemistry. Here in the red is the Lolene products, and the black is the standard chemistry. And you can see that certainly in cases it's comparable with the synthetic chemistry. It is completely outdoing the synthetic chemistry where resistance has occurred. And so this has now occurred in 7 countries, and this is the technology that we've sold to the world, because we've now discovered a process of building biologicals into a format that competes directly with synthetic chemistry at the same cost. Thank you.